Hello there, my name's Christian Payne. Something I'll often see with entrepreneurs, managers, is conversations around accountability and how they want to keep their staff accountable. And certainly at the moment with Donald Trump and his impeachment process, it's about the Democrats are about holding them accountable. And I hear these words thrown around a lot. And what I ask is, well, how do you do that? How do you hold someone accountable? Because it's a really easy process. It's very simple, straightforward. Most people haven't done that before or haven't gone through that process. And so I thought I'd share with you today how I do this with my team and staff and family. So how do you have an accountability conversation? It can be with anyone, with your team, your boss, family, children, parents. You can do this with anyone. You should do this often and as whenever you feel someone's out of integrity, needs some accountability. It can be that often and that frequent. It'll take about 5 to 20 minutes, give or take. What I find is over time, the better you are at it, obviously the much quicker and shorter the process can be. And just an experience, just a practice sort of thing. You definitely want a quiet, personal, uninterrupted space. So as I said before, it's usually the first time a person's gone through this. So take them on that journey. You need to walk with them because they perhaps might feel a bit uncomfortable along the way, but you want to maintain that. You want to make your point, you want to feel heard, and you want them to feel heard too. And safety first, and I'll talk about that, the importance of that in a moment. So in this example, it's two MMA fighters. They're about to go toe-to-toe. They're about to almost kill themselves, or kill each other. And what I like about this is it shows, what I call fighting clean or fight clean. You don't need to be dirty. You don't need to resort to insults or generalizations or any of that sort of stuff. They don't hurt and they actually make your case weaker. Keep it simple. You need really, really clear outcomes. Why are you doing this? And what are their outcomes? And usually it's along the lines of something's happened, there's a block, and we want to remove that. So, we can get on the same page again or, whatever your words are. But for me, it's to maintain connection. And so I can work with this person and not think about this thing, this block that keeps coming up every time I see them. It definitely doesn't have to be a painful, awkward process, although you might find it the first couple of times. And we'll talk about safety first. I'm 6'2". I know I have a big presence. I walk into the room and, I have a presence. And if I'm sitting at a table, especially someone new, especially if they're shorter than me, they can feel very uncomfortable with this. And I want to give them total safety, because if they're worried, if they're fearful, if there's something's going on, they're not being present to what I'm saying. So you want to really maintain that, go over the top, really maintain that sense of safety, because we're getting into some possibly uncomfortable stuff. And I talk about a charge, and you can't have a charge. If you're going to do this, you mustn't have a charge. What is that? A charge is when you have an emotional reaction to someone that's out of proportion. And a really good example would be something like, let's say you're working with Jim and this is the third time Jim has been late to a meeting. And it's like, I've had enough of this with him. He's mucking around. I'm going to hold him accountable. I'm going to have an accountability conversation. Okay. So there's a charge there. I'm all worked up. I'm all, so you want to clear that first. And again, clearing's really, really easy. I've done a second video for that if you look at the comments. But you want to clean that up first before you proceed with this. Okay, so you don't want to charge. First question, what was the agreement and did you keep it? And for the answer, it needs to be laser-like and specific. Okay, the meeting was supposed to start at 9 and on Tuesday, you said you would do, and you did whatever the heck it is. This is the small things in life. And I've seen some people try this with bigger things. They'll say, I was going to quit smoking and I had a cigarette. Or my commitment was I wasn't going to eat junk food and I did. And it doesn't work for that. Like there's a different process for that. They're big issues in life. What we're talking about here are the small things, I said I would do, pick up the kids after school, and I forgot. I said I was going to, pick up something on the way home, and I didn't. Whatever the heck it is, it's the small things in life. It's be very, very specific. Now, again, the first few times, someone will come up with a whole lot of excuses. Oh, well, the train was late, and then coronavirus, and then this. And that's fine, Let them finish. You don't want that energy to be in the way, so let them go. But then just come back to the point. What was the agreement, and did you? What was the agreement, and did you keep it? Stay laser-like focused. Watch for the emotion. Watch for your emotion bubbling up. That doesn't help. So just be present and be aware of what's going on for you. And so the next question is, did you keep it? Yes or no? And again, they might go on this long-winded thing, and that's fine. Did you keep it? Yes or no? Cool. And the next thing is, well, what was more important, or what did you make more important, or what did you do instead? And why that's relevant is they did something else. They knew about the agreement, but they did something else instead. And you do want to keep it small and specific. This is why the charge is so important, because you don't want to, pound them into submission and, get your pound of flesh out. You just want to know, like, well, I wanted to sleep in. I felt like it. Look, that's cool. At least they're calling it out. At least they're bringing that out to the open. It's when you're hiding, or pretending, or whatever the heck, whatever it is you do, that doesn't help. Cool. So, keep it small and specific. Be patient, but you'll want to look for something. You did do something instead, What is it? If necessary, just keep rephrasing the question. What did you do instead? What did you make more important? What else? But don't move on until you got an answer. Cool. And, there's always consequences to your actions. And so what was the impact on me of that? Oh, well, you're pissed off, or, again, it doesn't matter, but you need an answer for that. What was the impact on me? What's the impact on you? And this is where it can get a bit uncomfortable, but, you just want some honesty. Okay, you don't want a pound of flesh. You just want them to say something. You want them to acknowledge what happened. And then, so on me, on you, and on others, this isn't war and peace, but you just want them to call it out. It's like shining a spotlight onto something, just to bring an awareness to it. And then stop. And so a check-in, how are you feeling? Use one of the 5: anger, sad, glad, fear, or shame. You might be a bit angry, might be a bit anxious, a bit tired, a bit exhausted, it doesn't matter what it is. But just check in. How are you feeling? How are they feeling? They're going to feel battered and boot, like they've taken a few beatings. Again, probably no one's ever asked them these questions before. So, just check in, slow down, breathe. And acknowledge their honesty and their vulnerability. It can be very, very threatening and very confronting. So, at least acknowledge it, call it out. And here's definitely where less is more. So, don't, be okay with those uncomfortable silences. You don't need to fill it in. I know lots of people who, and they've got to say something. Like for whatever reason, they just can't sit in that silence. So just let things brew, let things percolate. There's no rush. Less is more. Cool. And so now we're coming towards the end is, what are the insights? What did you learn? What did you learn about yourself and about others and about the consequences? So for me, what I find is if they're not keeping their agreements, it's because they're doing something else. What is that something else, And possibly they're not making that important enough in their life. There's nothing wrong in the desire, I want to spend more time, I want to sleep in. It doesn't matter what it is. It's just the way they're doing that isn't helpful. So, they're overcommitting, or they're not communicating when that that thing can't happen. So what are the consequences of that? Is that I get angry. I get disappointed in you. I am upset. You're upset. You're embarrassed. You're whatever it is. And so this is the last thing, as we bring this full circle, what's the new agreement? How do we make this up? How do we make this better? And here is, don't set yourself up, or don't set them up for failure, okay? You can tell, they can try and be, I want to get this right, and they'll overcommit. it's like, don't do that. This is again back to that fighting clean thing. If you're accepting that they're going to give you something unrealistic, and you'll be doing this conversation again, that's unfair. Okay, don't do that. Have a new agreement that is realistic for everyone involved. Practice. And I suggest, practice with a coach or a mentor or a friend. Practice both sides, both as a facilitator and as the student. You do need to be on the receiving end of this. And if there's nothing in your life, then and you can't be a student, I would possibly challenge that assumption. There will be something there. I've done this for years and years, and me included. I've been the student on the receiving end of this many, many times. And of course it's awkward and uncomfortable for the first couple of times until it isn't, regardless, having no accountability is far, far worse. Okay, and what I find is when the team is on the same page, it just elevates the conversation. It just elevates I'm going to say the relationship, but it just elevates the working dynamic. There becomes a far healthier respect for each other, and just a warmth and a fun of being around these people. It's just better for everyone. So I hope that's helpful. My name's Christian Payne. Good luck.